Picture this. It's 1979, the World Series of Poker main event. The biggest names in the game have gathered. Doyle Brunson, Johnny Moss, Bobby Baldwin, all ready to feast on amateurs. And into the Shark Tank walks Hal Fowler, a retired ad man. No poker accolades, no bankroll. Just a $20 bill and a dream. No one took him seriously until he started busting legends one by one. This is the story of how a total unknown defied the odds, rewrote history, and became the first amateur to ever win the WSOP main event, pulling off some of the gutsiest plays the game has ever seen. The man with no resume. Hal Fowler wasn't a poker pro. He was 59 years old, diabetic, battling health issues, and practically unknown at Binion's Horseshoe. He had no tournament pedigree, no sponsorship. He didn't even have the full buy-in. He scraped together $10,000 by borrowing from friends. Some say he only brought $20 of his own money. When the cards were in the air, the poker world expected an early exit. Instead, they got a front row seat to the greatest Cinderella run in poker history.
Seated at table 6, Bobby Baldwin, last year's champion, and Hal Fowler, an amateur and long shot. Last year, there were women entered for the first time. There was one. This year, there are 2.
The bluff heard round the room. Early in the tournament, Fowler wasn't just surviving, he was swinging for the fences. And then came the first legendary hand. He raced pre-flop with a suited 7-6, something the pros at the table scoffed at. Then he completely missed the flop. But he fired again. That hand sent a message. Hal Fowler wasn't here to be a footnote. He came to play. Aces cracked, and the rise begins. As the field started shrinking, so did the list of doubters. In one pivotal moment, Fowler looked down at King Jack and got it all in pre-flop against pocket aces. A cooler, right? Not for Hal Fowler. The flop brought a jack and a king. Suddenly, the man with no resume just cracked aces and doubled through one of the chip leaders. Even the pros started whispering, "Who is this guy?" He kept pushing, kept playing aggressively, making strange plays that somehow kept working. Poker legends like Amarillo Slim and Chip Reese watched in disbelief as this unknown kept climbing the leaderboard. Against all odds, the final table. When the final table began, it was a murderer's row of poker royalty. Bobby Hoff, a polished pro and feared cash game killer, had the chip lead. And sitting across from him, Hal Fowler, the amateur, the diabetic underdog, and the man no one expected to last. But he came out firing. There's a critical hand where Fowler picks up a classic cooler with ace-10. The river bricks, and Fowler doubles again. The legend was building. He was now staring down just one man, Bobby Hoff.
The gentleman on your left has to be the dark horse, kind of the mystery man of this tournament, Hal Fowler, but everybody's marveled at how relaxed you play. You make your decisions almost immediately.
Well, I've been playing for 42 years, and I played poker a long time. Played Hold'em for 8 years. I make my decisions right away.
The heads-up war. The final duel lasted hours. It was chaos. Hal was exhausted. Reporters said his insulin levels were tanking, but he refused to quit. The heads-up battle saw wild swings. Hoff kept grinding back, but Fowler wouldn't die. And then came a hand that would prove Hal could beat poker legends.
There's money when you're putting them out there.
When you're actually at the table, the chips are just tools to work with. You have to have chips to win the tournament, naturally, but they're just tools. You don't think about money until you actually cash them in.
The irony of this matchup is the first day of last year's tournament, Hoff knocked Fowler out.
Historically, every winner in this event has come from far behind.
Pretty good sized pot there. $132,000.
And they haven't even turned the flop yet.
And here it comes. Pair of jacks.
And Bobby did the betting coming into this hand, but it's Hal's first turn to act. We'll see what he does.
Do you feel confident at this point?
Well, I don't know. Hal knows if he makes a mistake here, the tournament's over, and Bobby knows the same thing. Bobby quickly folds. Hal looked like he was getting ready to bet all his money.
It's a bluff.
It is a bluff. Hal had the 10-9 of spades. No pair, no draw.
Hal was proving he could hang with the best of them. With just one opponent left, the WSOP bracelet was in Hal's sights. We searched far and wide to bring you the most legendary poker stories. Now it's your turn. Like and subscribe to help us keep the cards and the content coming. The Hand of Destiny. Fowler was dealt 7-6 again. That sneaky suited trash hand he seemed to love. Hoff, on the other hand, was sitting on pocket aces.
This is getting to be an endurance test.
Well, the two of them have been playing head-to-head for almost 5 hours now.
Short time later, we pick up a hand on the flop. Each player has $38,000 in the middle.
Well, Bobby did the raising coming into this hand before the flop. Hal was just calling. Looks like Bobby's getting ready to bet him again.
$40,000 this time. Self-made poker player and one of the best.
That's right. You see Hal checking his hand here. $40,000.
Each of those gray chips worth $500. Fowler calls him. That will make the pot total so far $156,000.
Hal's looking directly at Bobby, keeping his sober expression as always.
4 of spades.
Well, the 4 makes straight possibilities. Bobby's
Gonna go all in. $43,000 worth. But what can he do at this point?
He has no choice. He's got to make a stand here. He's got to win this pot.
Fowler will call him. The pot now will amount to $242,000. Another half a dozen chips. The 5th and final card on this big pot.
Well, Bobby displays 2 aces. The 10 of diamonds didn't help him. Hal's got a 6 and a 7. He made a straight. Not only wins the pot, but the championship.
Hal Fowler, the amateur from Los Angeles and the winner of the 1979 World Series of Poker. Bobby Hoff takes second place money of $108,000. Hal Fowler, first place money, $270,000.
The room exploded. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not in the world's biggest tournament, not against the best players alive. But Hal Fowler had done it. He became the first amateur to win the WSOP main event. He walked away with $270,000, a life-changing sum back in 1979. To the pros, it was a wake-up call. The game was changing. No one was untouchable anymore. To the fans, it was magic. A real-life Rocky story at the poker table. Legacy of a legend. After the win, Fowler didn't chase the spotlight. He didn't become a poker celebrity. He quietly faded from the scene, eventually succumbing to illness in 2000. But his win stands as a symbol, a reminder that poker isn't just about math, theory, or years at the felt. It's about guts, timing, and sometimes just believing you belong. Every amateur who sat at a table dreaming of greatness owes something to Hal Fowler, because he proved that even a retired grandpa with a $20 bill can walk into poker's toughest arena and walk out a world champion. So next time you think the pros have it locked up, remember Hal Fowler, the man who turned 7 high bluffs and gut-shot draws into poker immortality. A chip and a chair, the Jack Strauss Miracle Run. The giant at the table. They called him Treetop for a reason. Standing 6 feet 7 inches tall, Jack Strauss wasn't just a physical presence, he was a poker force. Loud, bold, brash, a Texas gambler in every sense of the word. He played big, he talked bigger, and when he walked into Binion's Horseshoe in 1982, most players knew exactly who he was. But what they didn't know was that Jack was about to become a legend. Not just for winning, but for coming back from something no one thought was possible. The disappearing stack. Midway through the 1982 WSOP main event, things weren't looking good for Strauss. He'd been bleeding chips, bluffing with air, running into monsters, and then came the hand that seemed like the end. Strauss pushed all in, got called, and lost. He stood up, shook hands, started to walk away. But then a dealer noticed something. There was one $500 chip still on the table, tucked under a crumpled napkin. And here's the kicker. Strauss never actually declared all in. He just shoved most of his stack. That meant the hand wasn't technically an all-in pot. And that single chip, it was still in play. The phrase that changed everything. With just that one chip, Jack Strauss sat back down. The table laughed, Strauss laughed too, and then he said the line that would echo through poker history. All I need is a chip and a chair. It was meant as a joke, a shrug at the hopelessness of his situation. But it wasn't a joke for long. That one chip turned into a small double-up, then another, and within hours, Strauss was back, not just alive, but dangerous.
Heard the term chip in a chair. Today we're going to discuss where that actually came from. The term chip in a chair came from the man in the top there, the single picture at the top left. His name was Jack Strauss. It was at the Horseshoe Casino downtown Las Vegas that the term came alive. Jack Strauss at the top left-hand corner. He won the World Series of Poker main event in 1982. He won $500,000. These are pictures of the men who made the World Series of Poker possible. There, Benny Binion with his hat on. These are old pictures. Jack Binion at the bottom left. These are the men who made the World Series of Poker possible. These were smart, intelligent men with vision. Not like the men running casinos today. But there's Jack Strauss, top left-hand corner. As legend goes, midway through the tournament, he pushed all his chips into the pot. His opponent called, and he lost the pot. He got up, was ready to go, but underneath the drink holder or the napkin was one chip left over. And because he did not say all in, he just pushed his chips in the pot. He did not say anything. He did not say all in. And the ruling was he could continue playing with that one chip. And then legend grew. He actually won the tournament from that one chip. It was midway through the tournament. And he'd actually gotten up out of his chair, was going to walk away from the main event when somebody noticed the chip underneath the drink holder and the napkin. And there he was. And technically, because he did not say all in, he was able to continue playing.
Momentum turns to mayhem. Day after day, Strauss kept climbing. The one-chip miracle turned into a mountain of chips. He played like a man possessed, tight when he needed to be, reckless when it suited him, and always unpredictable. The other pros couldn't crack him. He was dodging bullets, flipping like a coin, and somehow always landing heads up. From nearly out of the tournament to chip leader at the final table. This wasn't luck. This was a run for the ages. The legend lives on. Jack Strauss passed away just 6 years later, in 1988. But his name is etched in poker folklore, not just for winning, but for how he did it. From one forgotten chip to the top of the poker world. Every short-stacked player at a final table, every amateur clinging to life on the bubble, every poker dreamer down to their last big blind. They all repeat the same mantra. Born at a table in 1982. All I need is a chip and a chair. Jack Treetop Strauss didn't just play poker, he rewrote what survival means at the table. If you liked these stories, hit that like button. Subscribe for more epic poker moments and drop a comment if you've ever felt like the underdog at the table. Because in this game, anyone can win.